Alright, hello folks, I am Jay Nygaard, the Turbine Guy, and I am back one more time with another renewable system. This time we're in Bokeelia, Florida one more time, and we're going to look at a solar hot water system that is used in Florida. You can see on the front of the house here, aim south, we have a flat hot water plate, and we got a solar module and some other equipment, and then we have an 80-gallon water heater tank on the side. Now the difference between a hot water system in Florida and Minnesota, say, is in Minnesota it's a two-part system that they use antifreeze on the interior and the part that goes up onto the roof and the interior of the water heater and separate that glycol from the water. Because of course up in Minnesota, when it gets to be 20 below, that stuff's going to freeze. Anyways, we'll go take a look and explore how this system works. Alright, we are now looking at the 80-gallon, yes 80-gallon, hot water heater tank for my solar water system down here in Florida. And when I had a regular just electric water heater, I had it in the house and it was only so tall so it fit in real nice on the pedestal. But this 80-gallon tank is so big, I had to build this outside compartment to hold it in. Now, if you notice, we've got all kinds of piping and tubing up there, and there's a reason. You have to cycle the water up to the flat plate we saw and back into here, but you also have to be able to allow the water to come in and go to the house. We are now looking at the brains of the solar hot water system and hot water heater area. And we've got, as I said, 2 in and 2 out. The first one in is the cold water coming from the city. And then we have the hot water out that goes to the house. Both PEX tubing, as the whole house is PEX tube. And you can see their connections there. But for the solar hot water, it's all got to be copper running here and all the way up because it gets so hot. And you can see the top one where I'm pointing. We got our check valves and to shut the system off and all that. But right there is what makes the system work. That's a photovoltaic pump, a little 12-volt mini pump that when the sun comes out and the sun hits a solar module up there, it just slowly cycles the water all day long. So it goes out and up and it's gone. And then when it comes back, of course, we got our shut-off and check valves and drain valves. We also have right here a check valve so that the water can only go that way. Okay, here we are on the roof looking at the solar hot water system. We'll start out with the 10-watt PV module. And what this does is this runs that little red pump I showed you down by the hot water heater. So even if the power goes out around here, this whole system will run itself. So we will have hot water if we have water pressure from the city. So here's our 4x10 collector plate. You notice I have it aimed south up here so that in the winter we have the best opportunity to make hot water. Now over on that far end you see the inlet. That's the cool water in, which could still be quite hot at times. It works its way all the way across and then it exits out here. And when it exits, we got a pressure relief valve, we have a high temperature valve, we've got a drain valve right there, and most important aspect right here is the freeze valve. If it gets to be 40 degrees or less, that valve automatically opens. It drains water out through that little tube and allows warm water to come up from the hot water heater down there in order to keep this whole system from freezing while it's happening. Running the pipes from the flat collector plate up above down to the hot water heater below is the toughest part of figuring out these systems. And behind that boxed in area are where I run the pipes from the roof through the attic down below. The pipes come from above on the deck area down here, run sideways, and then we run them all the way back and out the other room. Now if you notice, some of the insulation I have on this kind of melted. Well, that's how hot that water gets coming back sometimes. And that's why, specifically, you need to use copper pipe when you're installing something like this. If you try using the PEX, it's probably going to melt at some point. We're in the laundry room now. We're still following the pipes, and you can see they come through and then finally exit right out there. Now here is where I used to have my water heater. You can see that there's absolutely no way that 80-gallon tank would fit. And the reason I'm limited with the height in this room is specifically because I needed this pedestal right here to put everything on, so it was all above the 9-foot 100-year flood stage. Okay, what we have seen today is a southern or warm weather hot water system. We've seen how the water comes into the water tank, gets cycled up to the collector plate, ends up back in the water tank, then ends up in your house. And what we have to really be worried about is this water gets hot. Sometimes it is coming out of there scalding. So you really need to be careful when you have it. A typical system like this can produce enough hot water for a family of 4, except during maybe winter time or cloudy times or like that. Now it's interesting that certain states like Hawaii have mandated that all new construction have solar hot water. I don't know why Florida hasn't yet. I don't know why a lot of places haven't. Solar thermal is the best energy gain in renewable energy. The best. In other words, it takes more energy to heat that water in your house than it does to run the electric and the appliances and such. So solar hot water is most definitely the way to go. This system itself would typically cost around $5,000 installed. All depends. Not much left for rebates or tax credits for it at this point. But it's still well worth it, because you figure if you got a house of 4 people and you're saving $20 a month on the hot water for each, that's $80 a month. It's going to pay itself off in a short amount of time. Well, thanks for watching. If you would like to get one of these kits for yourself, I know the supplier. I can get it for you, and we can move on from there. Contact me at gogreenenergyonline.com. gogreenenergyonline.com. Go to the contact page, send me an email if you're interested in this or if you have any questions.